Around this time of year, you'll start to see bareroot plants for sale, and today I am going to show you how to plant bareroot strawberries.
If you haven't heard of bareroot plants before, they're just dormant plants. They ship a lot easier and they end up being cheaper because they don't really need to be maintained during their dormant stage. You can buy them online or at local nurseries or even at big box stores, which is where I got mine. And at this store, you can get a package of 10 bareroot strawberry crowns for $3.46, so that is pretty cheap. And they have two different kinds here. All Star, which is a June bearing variety, meaning all of the strawberries will be ready around the same time, typically around June, as the name would imply. And then they have Quinault, which is an ever-bearing variety, meaning they will produce strawberries throughout the season. I decided to grab the Quinault because I do have a fair amount of June-bearing varieties at home already. There is some more information of the strawberries on the back, and then if you look on the inside of the packaging, most of these brands will have a little guarantee notice on them saying that if the bareroot strawberries don't grow within 1 year of purchase, if you followed the planting instructions, that you can mail your receipt in for a refund. And even though these are pretty inexpensive, it's still nice to be able to try growing them risk-free because I'll be honest, bareroot strawberries can be hit or miss, so being able to get your money back by mailing in your receipt means it doesn't hurt to try, but just make sure to save your receipt. And these are the planting instructions, but I'm going to stray a little bit from them because I feel like they are missing an important step that can make or break these working out. And I know I just mentioned that you can get a refund if you followed the planting instructions and they don't grow, but anything that I'm doing differently shouldn't prohibit them from growing. So let's get the package opened and I'll show you how I plant my bareroot strawberries. So some have already started to sprout and these are all kind of clumped together. So the first step is to very carefully separate them. You don't want to break them. See if you can find the actual thicker crown parts and detangle the roots as best and as gently as possible. Okay, here is one, and I'm going to keep on working on separating this clump, and hopefully there are 10 plants total, like the package says. Alright, so I do have 10. Sometimes people say they got stiffed and didn't get the amount they were supposed to, and while that can and does happen sometimes, I think what actually happens is they can't find all of them because some of them are so much smaller than others, so they can be hard to find, so you really do want to separate them thoroughly. And as I was separating them, I noticed a lot of dead foliage on all of the crowns, so I'm just going to cut off all of that dead weight. All right, I got them cleaned up pretty good, and the next thing I'm going to do is what I was surprised the instructions didn't say to do, and that is to soak them for about 1 to 2 hours before planting. Inside the package there is moisture, but you still don't know exactly how long they have been packaged, so they may be really dry and thirsty, and we don't want these to dry out at all while trying to get them to grow, so soaking them allows them to get rehydrated. While I'm letting them soak, I'm going to prepare the container I'm going to plant them in. I have this nice terracotta pot that I'll use, and the instructions did say to plant them 12 to 24 inches apart, but in my opinion, I don't think that's necessary. I like to plant pretty densely, and if I followed those instructions, then I'd only be able to plant one crown in one container, and I've never had any issues planting them closer together. You still want them to have space, but I don't think you need to give them that much space, but I am just speaking from my experience. The next order of business is to add some fertilizer to the soil. I am just using a berry fertilizer, and I'm just going to mix in a few scoops really well into the soil. It's It's now been about 2 hours that these crowns have been soaking, and as I was doing other tasks in my garden while waiting for them to finish their soak, I realized that I had a better place to plant them in than this container. I have my empty green stalk vertical tower that I can put them in, and this will be better because they can hang over the edge as they grow, and also a lot of people do use their green stalks or similar planters for strawberries, so this will be perfect. I think I can fit them all into one tier. There are 6 planting pockets, but some of the crowns are smaller, so I can double the smaller ones up into one planting pocket. There is already soil in the tiers, but they needed a refresh anyway, and I already added the berry fertilizer to the terracotta pot that I was going to plant them in, so I'll just transfer the soil over. The soil is all moved over, and I definitely think I'll have room to double up some crowns in some of the pockets to keep them all on one tier. I am also growing some strawberries from seed, so I can use the other tiers for my other strawberry plants when they are ready to be transplanted.
When you plant your bare root strawberries, they actually don't need to be planted very deep. You do want to make sure that the roots are covered, but the crown can be buried at just soil level. And all 10 of them actually have sprouted a bit, so I'm going to try and plant them kind of where they are hanging over the edge to encourage them to keep growing that way. They are all planted, and I'm pretty happy with how I was able to place them. They still don't have 12 inches of space apart, but again, I really don't feel like they need to be spaced that far apart. For the smaller crowns, I did plant 2 to 1 pocket, and the larger crowns got their own pocket, but I do think everything is spaced out well enough, and I think they should all do just fine. And even though I rehydrated them by soaking them for about 2 hours, I am still going to water them in really well, and until I see some more growth, I want to make sure that the soil stays hydrated. I will add some mulch, and a lot of people actually do mulch their strawberries with straw, and I do have a bag of straw mulch tucked away in my shed, but I'm too lazy to dig it out right now, but I'll take care of that soon. Hopefully these all take off, and combined with all of my other strawberry plants, I'm hoping to be enjoying lots of strawberries this year.